This Week in Economics on the 22nd of August 2015. On some outlets, you'll hear this broadcast on the 23rd, but nonetheless, we'll date it as it is for historical purposes. We'll get right into the PMIs from a market. We use their PMIs. A number of them came out for the Eurozone, for the U.S. Manufacturing PMI, and China General Manufacturing PMI. Glassings, I suppose. Glassings, anyway. Butchering it. The name. We'll start with China here, and generally speaking, the flash China General Manufacturing PMI at 47.1 in August. It was 47.8 in July. It is at a 77-month low. The flash China General Manufacturing Output Index at 46.6 in August. It was at 47.1 in July. That is a 45-month low. This is from the Cassian Flash China General Manufacturing PMI Purchase Managers Index, published on a monthly basis. And basically, let me just sum this up. It is at 50. The PMI decreased fast rate, output decreased, new orders decreased fast rate, new export orders decreased fast rate, employment decreased fast rate, backlog of work increased fast rate, output prices decreased, input prices, stock of purchases decreased, stock of finished goods increased from decrease, quality of purchases decreased fast rate, and suppliers delivery time lengthening slow rate. And this is commenting on the the China Flash Manufacturing PMI data. Dr. Hu Hafeng, the chief economist at the Cassian Insight Group, said the Cassian, and that's spelled CAIXIN, for August has fallen from July's two-year low, indicating that the economy is still in the process of bottoming out. But overall, the likelihood of a systemic risk remains under control, and the structure of the economy is still improving. There's still pressure on the front of maintaining growth rates, and to realize the goals set for this year, the government needs to fine-tune fiscal and monetary policy to ensure macroeconomic stability and speed up the structural reforms. This will lead the market to confidence and renewal vigor. Thus, that is China, and we'll roll right on here to our next stop. We'll go to Germany. The flash the Eurozone PMI composite output index at 54.1. It was 53.9 in July, a 2-month high. The flash Eurozone service PMI activity index at 54.3. It was 54 in July, a 2-month high there. The flash Eurozone manufacturing PMI at 52.4. It was 52.4 in July, unchanged. The flash Eurozone manufacturing PMI output index at 53.8. It was 53.6 in July. It's a 15-month high. The August business survey suggests, just a second here, business survey signaled that growth in the Eurozone economic output held broadly steady at a solid pace, 54.1. That's a market flash Eurozone PMI ticked higher from July's reading of 53.9 and remained at an expansionary level for the 26th consecutive month. The pace of increase was one of the fastest over the past year. Positive contributions to growth were provided by both manufacturing and service sectors, including in both cases in both cases. Companies in both sectors indicated that output levels had risen in response to increased level of incoming new work, including strong growth of new export orders at manufacturers. This took the overall rate of increase in total new business a shade higher into its fastest since May. This encouraged further job creation in the currency union, with employment rising for the 10th consecutive month. The rate of job creation at service providers held steady over the month, while that signal from manufacturers was steepest since July of 2011. The outlook for the Eurozone economy, along with remaining upside during August, alongside growth in new orders, employment backlogs, work rose at the strongest pace in 51 months, suggesting the current demand was still testing capacity at a number of firms. Meanwhile, business optimism at service providers remained moderately positive, despite slipping to an 8-month low. Confidence eased in Germany and outside the big two nations, but stepped up to its highest level since March 2012 in France. The costs front average input price rose for the 7th consecutive month in August, a further solid increase in costs at service providers, mainly due to higher wages and salaries, was partially offset by the first decline in manufacturing purchase prices since February, which is a good sign, keep inflation in check. Average output charges at Eurozone companies decreased again in August, although the pace of decline remained only marginal. Selling prices for manufacturing goods rose for the third month running, whereas service sector charges were reduced for the 45th consecutive month. By country, output growth acceleration in Germany, with a pace above the Q2 average. Subsequent job creation hit a 44-month peak. The performance of France remained subdued in comparison, but still overall with economic output rising for the 7th straight month. However, while France's service sector continues to expand, manufacturing production fell. Job losses were also registered in France for the 2nd month in a row. Output growth remains marked outside the big two nations. In August, economic growth accelerated to its highest since 2007, leading to further a solid increase in staffing levels at manufacturers and service providers alike. This is from Rob Dotson. He's a senior economist at Market. The flash PMI suggests the Eurozone is still experiencing one of the best periods of economic growth and job creation during the past 4 years. GDP is tracking close to 4/10 so far in Q3, slightly above the 3/10 seen in Q2, highlighting the resilience of the economy through last month's roller coaster events, the Greek credit crisis, and the ongoing negotiations to tie up the full details surrounding bailout. Incidentally, the Greek Prime Minister has resigned, and they're calling a snap election. Stronger growth in Germany and outside the two big nations were the main growth spurs in August. Particularly pleasing is the continuation of job creation seen in these nations, especially in the periphery, where some countries are still lagging with double-digit rates of unemployment, redundancies, and that comes to mind Greece and Spain. On that score, it's further disappointing to see further job loss reported in France. However, with output growth registered for the 7th straight month, the backlog of work rising Hopefully this trend will improve in the coming months. The key to getting France back on track would appear to be achieving a turnaround in manufacturing, with the sector still offsetting much of the recent gains as seen by service providers. On the price front, the average selling prices are still holding broader steady across the Eurozone in August, while cost inflation was registered for the 7th consecutive month. While this suggests that deflationary pressures remain continued at present. Falls in indicators from both measurements during the latest survey ensure a watchful eye will be kept on trends in the coming data releases. Now, this deflation is always a ongoing problem, and very much an ongoing problem. We've done China. We'll go to the U.S. now. U.S. manufacturers signaled the slowest improvement in business conditions for 22 months in August. Manufacturing PMI dropped to its lowest level since 2013. Output, orders, and employment all expanded at a slower rate in August. This is usually quite normal for the U.S. economy. Many people on holidays, factories, retooling, etc. Input cost inflation picks up fractionally but remains well below the survey average. U.S. manufacturers indicated a renewal loss of momentum during August, with output of new business and payroll numbers all increased at a slower rate than in the previous months. As a result, the market flash U.S. manufacturing purchasing index dropped from 53.8 in July to 52.9 in August. The index remains above the neutral of 50. The main factor weighing on the head of the index was a slowdown in manufacturing output growth for 3 months. For the 3 months recorded during July. Moreover, the latest rise in production volume was the weakest since the weather-related slowdown. You remember that was in January 2014. The same survey respondents cited a cyclical slowdown in new business growth, as well as a heightened uncertainty regarding demand outlook in August. The latest data indicates a solid expansion overall of new volume orders are received by manufacturers, but the rate of growth moderated slightly since July. Subdued export sales remain a drag on the new business intakes in August, reflecting this new work from abroad. The new work from abroad decreased for the 4th time in the past 5 months. A number of firms, and some of this is attributed to the dollar, decreased competition pressure related to strong exchange rates. There was also reports that weak capital spending amongst the energy sector, and we'll get to that in a minute. Clients continue to weigh on some manufacturers' order volume. Softened rates of output and new business growth contributed to a caution regarding staff hiring in August. The latest survey points to a slowdown in job creation, at least marked since July of 2014. Meanwhile, backlog of work increased only slightly. Growth of output buying picked up in August, but remains close to an 18-month low. Moreover, stocks of finished goods fell for the first time. We looked at it very closely in 2015 so far. Although only marginal, the rates of decline in post-production inventory was the greatest for just over a year. August data points to broad similar rates of input price and output change inflation as those recorded during the previous month. Higher average cost burdens have now been recorded for 4 months in a row, but the rate of inflation remains well below the target there. This is from Tim Moy, the senior economist at Market. The August survey highlights a lack of growth momentum and continual weak price pressures across the U.S. manufacturing sector, while adding some fuel to the dovish argument, and this is in September.